Hi, sixth graders. Just going to go over some cell structure and function notes for you so you can understand a little bit more about the cells. So I'm going to put this on full screen, I think. All right, and so we'll just go over the parts of the cells and different types of cells, things like that. So you can put this stuff in your notebooks if you don't have it already. You can pause this video as you're going along, get that stuff. So cells, like we said, are the basic unit of life. All right, most are microscopic, some are not. An egg, for example, is a single cell, and obviously that's not microscopic. One of the largest cells is a nerve cell in a giraffe neck, which is like 6 feet long, and that's one single cell. So they're not all microscopic, but most are. All right, so we just talked about the principles of the cell theory. We already talked about that, so I'm going to skip through that one. There's two types of cells. We have prokaryotic and eukaryotic. And one is going to be more of the bacteria, like the ancient cells, and one is going to be the more modern day, what we think of as cells, and that's called your eukaryotic. So the first one is a prokaryotic, one of the first cells on Earth. It is a type of bacteria. All right, so if we think about this, they can live by themselves on their own. Lots of them will have like a tail to move around, or they will have, sorry, my cat's going checking things out, or like little cilia around the outside, and that's how they move around because they are independently living. They do not need a group of them to live together. All right, so either you can see the things as part of that, so maybe be aware of what's in them, maybe even draw a little sketch of a prokaryotic cell so you can compare that to the eukaryotic cell. And that's what we usually talk about is the eukaryotic cell because that's what we're made out of. All right, here it just talks about these guys. The biggest thing is that they do not, all their little organelles inside of them are not bound, together. They're all kind of just free for all within that cell. Versus when we talk about eukaryotic, they have those certain organelles, and the DNA is kind of all put together instead of just squiggling all around the cell. Here's your eukaryotic cell, and this is what we would think about of our animal and plant cells. So they have the nucleus-bound membrane, which means the nucleus has a membrane around it, and that membrane, whenever there's a membrane, it's allowing things in and out of a cell, controlling that. Just like your screens and your windows are kind of like a membrane. If it's a warm summer day, you open those up, and the screens don't let everything in, but some things can get in. Okay, even small bugs, things like that, viruses could get in through that screen. Your eukaryotic cells are going to be your fungus, protist, plants, and animal cells. And they're going to have lots of different organelles. And that's what you're going to learn is the organelles and what they do. Just because like your body has organs, cells have little tiny, tiny, tiny organs called organelles. And they all do certain jobs, just like your body has different organs that do different jobs. Your heart does something different than your liver, and your liver does something different than your stomach. So they all have a certain function that they do. Here is just one. I mean, there's a million different pictures that you can look at of an animal cell. This you can see. I'll have you do is cell more pretty creative. I will challenge you later this week on that. But these are just the different types of things, the organelles, within an animal cell. All right, and a plant cell is usually represented in a rectangular shape, as you can see by this one, because it has that cell wall. And there's a couple differences between them. If you put them side by side, you should be able to see the differences pretty easily. But the biggest ones are the idea that there's a cell wall on a plant cell, but not in an animal cell. Also, that blue vacuole here, lots of times in a plant cell, they'll call the central vacuole. That is a storage area. Animal cells have them, but plant cells have much larger ones because they store water. And that's important because if you think about why would it be important for a plant to be able to store water versus an animal cell being able to store water. So just think about that. There's a couple other differences, but we'll talk about those when we talk about each individual cell more directly. Okay, so these are the different functions, and I'm sure this video will cut off because I don't have a limit.